Hey everyone, welcome back to Solar Session. I'm James, Creative Director for Option One Solar, and today I'm here with Allison Thomas. We're here to talk about some financial stuff for solar, including like the options you can get, plus how it affects the market right now. So let's get into it.
2, 1, and liftoff.
Hey Allison, welcome to Solar Session.
Hey James.
Can you tell us a little bit about your job and what you do here and all that stuff?
Yeah, so as James introduced me, my name is Allison Thomas. I'm a part owner of Option One Solar, and I do the accounting and bookkeeping for the company, which means I book all the transactions, I pay the bills, I receive payments from our customers, and pretty much anything under the sun that has to do with the accounting department.
Yeah, and everyone here just loves working with you.
Definitely.
So, how do you like working here? How does it feel?
Yeah, I love it. Once I got out of high school and everything, I went through college and I ended up getting a BS in mathematics. And through that time, I worked several jobs. At some point during my college career, I was working 3 jobs, and I was always one of those people that could make the best out of where I work and everything. But since coming back to my family and starting to work for them, it's the best opportunity. It was the best thing for me and everything. And I'm glad I was able to kind of transpire my love for math into something that's useful for something that can help with my family and help with the community and help other people with return on investment and everything.
Yeah, that's one thing I like about working in the solar industry. It's very fulfilling. It's like you're saving the earth, you're saving money. It's good all the way around for everybody. So that's one thing I like about it.
Yes.
So now that we've discussed like how you like working here, we offer solar to people. I mean, our job is to offer solar, install solar, all that stuff. So what kind of options do we have for our customers?
Yes, so of course there's always the cash option, which you'd be surprised quite a bit of customers end up opting for. However, a lot of times it doesn't make sense for a lot of people. It's
It's a heavy investment.
Yes. So we do offer financing options. Right now we typically show our customers 3 main financing companies, and those are the best ones that we can see in the industry so far as solar loans go. Okay. We do not offer PPAs because we found historically that they're not helpful for our return on investment for our customers, and we're always kind of looking for the best options for them, and we're constantly researching and looking into other financing companies to see who has the best rates, who has the best services, both during the loan processing and after for customer care and responsiveness for the customer service if a customer ever needs something in the future after we're done installing.
Okay, so I mean, if somebody wants to do financing, how does that go? Like, how does that look like from the customer side?
Sure, yes. So every financing company is different. One particularly that we use a lot, we'll start with the pre-qualification phase. And what that is we just put in some general income information, run titles, and things that are a little bit more versed towards the financial aspect of the customer and their unique situation. If they have a mortgage, if they don't, if they own outright. Of course, you have to be an owner for most of ours. So they do take stuff like that into account. And
does getting solar affect your solar credit? I mean, your credit score. Does it affect your credit score at all?
So yes, after the pre-qualification stage, a lot of the times the customers get a little bit scared because they're saying, well, I'm not sure if I want to even do solar. What if I don't even qualify and you're running my credit? The cool thing about the financing companies that we choose is they will not do a hard pull until we're actually doing the loan documents and you're signing with us. So they will know that they qualify before we even get to the loan processing aspect of the project, even before we go to construction and everything. So your loan and its rate will be secure, even despite the rate increases and everything that's going on. Typically, the credit will last, once you do the credit pull, it'll last 180 days. during the pre-qualification, it's usually around 90 to 120 days. It depends on the financing company, and that's the soft pull aspect. And then once you run the hard pull, then you have 180 days to install, which is not a problem for us.
Right. Well, I mean, you talked about the ROI, and I mean, I tell people all the time that solar is way cheaper than electric bills. I know that for a fact because I did the math myself.
Yes.
So could you explain a little bit about how much ROI our customers can think to expect?
Yes. Exact number we can't quite calculate because it's...
Well, everybody's situation is different.
Exactly. But typically on average, I would say the return on investment is between 4 to 6 years, which is huge.
So that the system pays for itself completely within that time.
Yes, of course, when you have a loan, we do offer options, 20 to 25-year loans. Obviously, you're going to be having the bill, but by the time you get your credits and everything from your utility company as a customer, that system's already paying for itself.
Right.
And then not to mention also the 30% tax credit too. There's just a lot of benefits to it that kind of narrow that timeline of return on investment even more, which is awesome.
Right. The tax credit, how does that work exactly? Is that like, do you just get a check at tax time or what?
Yeah, so the tax credit is just like any other tax credit, federal. You don't necessarily get the check. It's not cash back. It's not a rebate. It's a credit that goes on your tax account. So what happens is once you get your solar, we put together an aftercare package and it's paid off whether you're financing or you're paying cash, and we'll put together your contract and your invoice, which is a summary of your system, and we give it to you. You bring it to your tax professional, and they will fill out what we call a Form 5695. It's the federal residential...
Improvement tax credit?
It's something like that. I forget what it's called, but it's something along those lines. And it's very easy. They just put in, there's probably 16 lines to it, and all it is asking, how much did you pay for your solar?
Yeah.
What's the kilowatts? How many panels? Pretty much anything that you would know if you are paying attention to what you're being sold at the very beginning of the process, and even going outside and counting your panels.
Right. I've heard that it can roll over. Is that true? Like if you don't use it all up in 1 year?
Yes, just like a normal tax credit, they typically roll over and everything. So that's a normal thing. The cool thing too, that you can connect that tax credit and allocate those credits indirectly, of course, that money that you're saving to your financing. So they have our financing companies have incentives, like most solar loans do, where they where you have a certain period where you get to freely amortize your loan or re-amortize your loan, where you can apply those funds that you would otherwise receive from a tax credit, even though you're not necessarily receiving them, but that money that you're saving, and allocate them to your loan and pay it off principal balance, and then it lowers your monthly payment.
Well, that's cool. Okay, I'm gonna switch subjects a little bit here. We just recently, I mean, everybody's kind of done with this whole pandemic thing. How did that affect our company in general when we were going through it? Do you remember that back then?
Oh yes. I mean, it's 2022. It started at the very beginning of 2020 when it really hit us in the United States and everything. And yes, with the staff that stayed with us and everything, we were able to keep the same volume as far as keeping those projects that were in progress going and streamlined like how we always do. And we continued to keep the quality customer service and keeping our customers updated throughout the time and everything. And it changed a lot of protocols, such as final inspections and everything. So a lot of customers were a little bit scared having people come on their property. And that was before, vaccines and everything were, being established and stuff. So a lot of people were very scared. So we had to implement a lot of remote work in that sense as much as possible. But then we had to obviously have people come in person to do the panels. So we made the proper precautions as far as that goes. But as far as the business itself goes and its health, what really happened was we got scared. But when I looked at the numbers and everything was good. We were still operating as a healthy business, despite lowering our volume and employees and everything. However, once we kind of got a gauge and a hold on what was going on and dealing with the supply chains for our materials and everything,
Right.
we just got into the groove of things. We adjusted really quick. It took us about probably 2 or 3 months to adjust, and then we were back on track. And by the end of the year, we actually ended up beating our numbers from 2019.
Oh, nice.
So not only did we catch up,
we did better.
We surpassed
we growed. We had
growed.
growth.
We grew, yes.
Yeah, well, I mean, we've grown a lot over the past year, especially in 2022. Like it's been like 203% every month, as far as I could tell.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, how has that affected your job?
Oh yeah, I'm a lot busier. That's
Yeah.
for sure. I feel like I can't get up as much, but it's in a good way because then I can call the customers, and I still try to have the best quality of customer service as I possibly can, reminding customers and automating things in our system to where I could, remind them, hey, you have a payment coming up. This is what it's due. This is what's going on. And I tried to really implement that at the beginning call when I take deposits from cash customers, or we let the customers go to site surveys and get into construction and everything. So we really tried to press on that and just kind of remind customers on how things like that go. So a lot of it, I did get busier, but I had other people help me in sales and construction to be able to kind of reiterate certain milestones accounting-wise and cost-wise to customers, whereas before the growth, I would be able to do by myself. So it's good. It's good to grow because I got more help and more helpful employees to.
Yeah. My team's grown too. Shout out to my homies right here. But yeah, okay. So recently, the economy has been going crazy with inflation, and we've been able to keep our rates relatively low. I mean, how are we able to do that? And how really is it affecting us in total?
Yeah, so I would say it's dual faceted. One point being with our financing companies and the other point being with our vendors. So our financing companies, we have a great relationship with because we're compliant. We do everything by the books and we have a record for everything, and they love us for that. So we were able to establish a very great relationship with all of them and be more personal, even with the higher up representatives that deal with their solar contractors and everything, and we end up being top producers for them very quickly.
Oh, really?
So for example, one of our lenders, after our first month with them, we were one of their top 5.
Nice.
Yes, so
it's just relationships is basically how we're getting through it.
So because we got a little bit of a favoritism, I would say, because we do things by the book and we communicate very well, not only with our customers, but with our financing companies, if there's any issues or anything, they really appreciate that. So they're able to give us prime pricing as opposed to other solar companies who probably don't have that personability with the financing companies, where it's just a person behind a black curtain, where we're up in their faces. Hey, let's get this moving forward. Why haven't we checked this credit on this customer? Let's go. Let's help. We're helping them too.
Right.
And that's very helpful. As far as the materials go with our vendors, we have a great relationship with our vendors too because I make sure we pay all our bills on time.
Right.
And so what we'll do is we'll have meetings with some of our lead vendors, and even sometimes we'll buy from the manufacturer themselves, and they love us just because our insurance, our licensing is up to date always. We always make sure to get permits before we go out, which is, you would think that it's the bare minimum to do, but a lot of people don't do that. And so it's very special to us that we're able to do things in a compliant way, but also in a timely way to make sure we don't miss deadlines and everything.
Right.
Just like with the bills that we get from our vendors and everything. So one example is one of our top vendors, I won't say who it is, we would have meetings with them quite frequently throughout the pandemic and everything and during the inflation. And we were concerned about the supply chain just because we were having problems with imports. The tariffs that were being established during the pandemic were crazy, and even shutting down the ports for a while. And that was pretty scary, not just for us, but for everybody else, not even just in our industry, just nationwide.
Right.
And luckily, our vendors had really good connections, which in effect helped us.
Yeah.
So we were able to essentially, have these meetings with our vendors, and they were able to keep their pricing at a very competitive rate as opposed to going somewhere else and trying to scrape up other materials and stuff that we wouldn't have research on because of, we were so panicked. So we're lucky we didn't have to do that. We were able to keep with our main source of materials and materials as far as our racking and our solar panels and stuff.
Right.
So pricing did change. Pricing did go up, and admittedly, I feel like it went up everywhere. You go to the grocery store and everything,
Yeah.
and everything's increased.
I mean, gas, it starts with gas. Like if you had to move things around, you have to have gas. So.
Yes, but one thing that's special about Option One Solar is that even though the price is increasing, like I was saying, the pricing is still competitive across the board because you're not only getting the quality of the install, but you're getting quality materials.
Yeah.
And with those vendors themselves, just being able to keep those relationships with them and keep in contact with them throughout the pandemic, and just they were able to reserve a lot of materials for us that we would otherwise, other solar companies were not able to get. So we got a lot of inventory that was reserved for us, which is awesome.
Yeah. So I mean, basically what you're saying is good business is recession-proof, right?
Yes.
So yeah, with that, I mean, do you have any financial advice for our existing solar customers or anybody who's looking to get into solar?
Yeah, definitely. I always research. Always research. Not only just the reviews for the company, but research of licenses. Like where, for example, in California, we have a great source. We have the California State License Board.
Yeah.
All you have to do is look up the company name, and you can see if they're in good standing, if they got their license suspended in the past, and why they got
Yeah.
suspended. And you will see that we have a clean record, and it'll even show their insurance and how it's up to date, and it'll show you officers of the company, and you'll see that where it's still
Right.
family owned. It's not, some big corporation that bought us out or anything like other
some faceless
places.
corporation or something.
Exactly, and you can see that just by looking at us and looking at even our website and everything, it's very personal. If you give us a call, it's not going to some outsourced customer service line that you
Right.
would get. It's going to someone in our office.
Like they're going to talk to either you or I or somebody that we know.
Yeah, exactly. In fact, yeah, if you call the accounting, you'll get a hold of me. You'll talk to me.
All right. Well, do you have any other financial tips you want to give out to the world?
Tax evasion. Don't do it.
Yeah, that's good advice for everybody, I think.
Yeah. But yeah, no, that's pretty much it. I like I said, just research as far as that goes for your solar companies, and just take your time.
Yeah.
Nobody's in a rush. I mean, on average, if your system takes 4 to 6 years for a return on investment, it's like, I like to always tell my customers, it's like buying a car. You're not going to just go to the dealership and just find the first car that you like and you test drive.
Right.
Go get a few quotes. We encourage you. Go look at other companies and see for yourself how they are. Go talk to people that that went with them. We have a huge referral chain of customers that went with us, and I'm telling you, there's a couple customers that even pretty much paid off their system with how many referrals they've had given.
Oh, really?
So yeah,
Okay.
just research, just look. The proof is going to be in the pudding.
All right. Well, thank you very much for your time, Allison. It's been a pleasure.
Thank you.
And for everybody out there, if you're looking to get solar, make sure you give us a call. And we do give referrals to our existing customers. So if you already have solar, you can get up to $1,000 if you can get somebody to buy solar from us. Just make sure that you sent them to us and that we know that. All right. Well, this is Solar Sessions signing off. We'll see you again next time.